What up, guys? It's your boy Pete, back here again with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about how to read fast. Vroom vroom. Please keep watching the video. Okay, I have one chapter of reading to do. Let's get it done. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Food, 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 food. Okay, I have one chapter of reading to do. Let's get it done. Shouldn't be too hard, right?
Relax, man. Just relax, dude. Relax, man. Relax, dude. You're stressed out. Relax, man. Relax, man. Just relax.
Yeah. Wait, what are you doing? Okay, I have one chapter of reading to do. Let's get it done. Shouldn't be too hard, right?
Sleep, 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 sleep.
Sleep, 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 sleep. Sleep, 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 sleep. Spark notes. Spark notes. Spark notes. Spark notes. Hey guys. So if you're like me, you probably fall into one of those three categories. You either you sit down to read and you're ready to go. You're like, oh yeah, homework's getting done today, and then you get hungry and you go to the kitchen and then you never come back, and end of story. Or you get distracted by what the kids are doing these days, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever, whatever that may be. That's kind of awkward. And then the most common thing that happens, at least to me, is that you sit down and you're reading, and then you just fall asleep. You just suddenly, that sleep that you just couldn't get last night, you just suddenly just it decides, your body's you gotta get to sleep now at this moment. You just cannot read anymore. You gotta go to sleep. So that's what usually happens, but I have a few tips that I think can help alleviate that problem. So let's get into it. First thing I have to say is concentration. So concentration is that sort of ability to stay focused on one thing, and that one thing only. So when you're reading, you know how you'll be reading and then you'll start reading and it's going to be about some for example, you're reading Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and this is probably a very common school book, college book, wherever you're reading it, but you start reading it and then it's talking about what for example Elizabeth or something, and they're talking, they're doing something about some wife or how to get married or something like that, something boring like that, and then you end up thinking about the new Popeye's chicken sandwich or something I don't even know. You just get on this train of thought and you just keep on going in the other direction, and then you come back and you're holy crap, what was I doing? But Yeah, that usually happens a lot, and that comes from a lack of concentration, from like not focusing on what you're reading. So the way you can like sort of get rid of this problem, not get rid of it, you're always going to lose focus and stuff, but you can practice concentration. So practicing concentration means that you have to take some time of your day, maybe 5 minutes, maybe a minute or two, just to focus on keeping your mind blank. And because what tends to happen is that we're focused on one thing and then something else comes into our mind. So if you can keep your mind blank and prevent those things from coming into your mind, practice that. When you're reading and you're actually focusing on something, you're not going to get distracted very easily. So that's for tip number 1. And yeah, tip number 2 sort of goes along with that. So it's visualization. So when you're reading like a book like Pride and Prejudice, it can actually help to visualize like what the characters are doing or like what's going on in the novel. And visualization basically means don't focus on like reading the words off the page. Focus on like understand like on what's going on, like trying to imagine what's going on. Because when you're reading, like, or let's say you're watching a movie, you're watching whatever's like the Joker or something, and you tend to remember those things and scenes from the movies very, very well, like as compared to like a book or a line in a book, because like you can remember images. If you know, you're just not going to remember words as easily as like an image. So try and put those words into an image in your mind. That'll help you remember, comprehend better, and keep you concentrated as well. So my next tip, 2 tips actually, are going to be more like what you can actually do physically. Like these aren't like practice concentration, like vague kind of stuff. This is just what I call the finger. No, not that finger. The pointer finger. So when you're reading, for example, if you're reading Pride and Prejudice, just basically use your finger and follow along. Basically, just keep on going. Don't stop. If you like don't understand something, just keep going. Like you keep reading, just keep reading. Keep moving forward. That's the key. Because what happens when you normally read is that you just read, and then like you're down the page, and then you're like, frick, I don't even know what happened. And then you have to reread. Then frick, oh shoot, what just happened? Like I think I understood. I need to reread. And that's what happens. Most of the time, you spend rereading the novel. You're not even like reading. You're just rereading what you just read like 5 seconds ago. And just using the finger, or you can use a pencil to do it as well. It'll just help you maintain your focus on reading and prevent you from rereading. And it kind of takes time. Eventually, you're so used to rereading that it's not going to work at first. But trust me, after some time, it'll get better. And then the next tip is also like a more technical tip, and it's basically just use a timer while you read. So, like, not like crazy like ACT 35 minutes, 40 questions. Like, you're not stressing yourself out. You're just like trying to be aware of how much time you're spending reading. Like, you'll realize, like, I remember one time, like, I spent like 30 minutes trying to read one chapter of a book, and that's because like I got up like 3 times, went to the bathroom, did some other stuff, and like, yeah, I came back, and eventually that 10-page chapter took me 30 minutes, which you're just like, oh shoot, I just wasted half an hour of my life reading a book. Oh yeah, but like, yeah, just set a timer and just be aware of how much time you're spending reading like a few pages, and maybe try and shorten that down every time you sit down to read. And yeah, that'll help you get faster, hopefully. So the next 2 tips or 3 tips are actually a little bit more like, they're kind of harder to do, like they're more technical and it's kind of weird. But first one is sub-vocalization, or the elimination of sub-vocalization. Sub-vocalization is basically that voice in your head that reads the book. Like when you're reading, you're not actually like, you're just listening to that voice in your head. And sub-vocalization is good for comprehension. Like studies actually have shown that sub-vocalization is necessary for comprehension, but when you when you just sub-vocalize everything, you're basically limiting yourself to how fast you can read. So like basically you can only talk about 200 words per minute. So if you're sub-vocalize everything and like you're saying everything in your head, like that means you're limiting yourself to about 200 words per minute. So like usually what you're reading for school, you're not reading for 100% comprehension. If you get like 70% comprehension, you're good. So you can actually eliminate that sub-vocalization and like not eliminate completely, probably you're not going to do that, but just you can try and eliminate it. And the way you eliminate it is you can like chew gum while you're reading, and that'll like sort of keep your like tongue occupied, and you'll be like listening to that like chewing sound, or like that's what your mouth, like sometimes your mouth likes to read along with you, like your tongue actually moves even though you don't notice it. So if you just chew gum, eat some food, or listen to music while you're reading, that can like help you sort of, or like eliminate or like dim down that subvocalization. And then the next tip is phrasing. So phrasing just basically means that, let's just give an example. The cat jumped over the log. So the cat jumped over the log. So it's not a really complicated sentence, but if you're like, this is just for an example, if you're not phrasing properly, you might read it like this: the cat jumped over the log, which is kind of like not repetitive, but like you're reading one word at a time, which is very slow and inefficient. You want to group words together. So like the cat jumped over the log, and like that makes a lot more sense than the cat jumped over the log. Otherwise, you're just like, wait, frick, what log? Oh, the cat, and you're just like, you have to like go back and sort of understand what you're doing and put it all together. Rather than do that, if you like phrase and you like group the words together, you'll be able to do that. And I'll put a few programs in the links below. Yeah. And yeah, you can just check those out and hopefully they'll help you out. And then the last tip is basically like the weirdest tip ever. So it's basically using your peripheral vision. So I never thought of this when I read, because basically like when you have glasses and you're like super blind, like you can only see through here. So you never really like look out here. Like this is all like, it's blurry, so you can't see anything, so you're not going to try and use it. But basically peripheral vision is just when you're staring at one thing, it's basically everything you kind of see in the sides, in the periphery of your vision. That's how you define something, guys. Use the word in the definition. But yeah, basically what you're going to do, normally we read from the leftmost word to the rightmost word, and then leftmost word to the rightmost word, and you just go down the page like that. But instead of doing this, you basically try starting at the second word, not the leftmost word, but like the one right next to it, and go all the way, not to the rightmost word, but the word right next to it. And you're basically shrinking that field of view. And so the idea is, if you read the second word, if you just focus on that, you can actually, in your peripheral vision, see the first word. So you won't need to actually stare at it and take that time to stare through it. And eventually, like, crazy super fast speed readers who are like insane and on drugs and probably doing everything like crazy, they're like, will just like look down the middle of the page, or they'll just like use some weird hand combination that'll like not cover every word, but it just like they can still see everything, use their peripheral vision to absorb the information, which is insane. And yeah, that's pretty crazy. And yeah, that's basically the idea of peripheral vision. Finally, the most depressing thing is to get faster at reading, you just have to read more. Like that's just the most simple concept. If you're gonna like work out and get muscle, like you're gonna have to work out a lot. And obviously, you know, I'm not in the gym very often, so I can't really say that working out a lot gets you muscle. Maybe I should probably try that out sometime, because I'm pretty skinny. But you know, but yeah, basically, if you want to get faster at reading, you have to practice reading faster. You have to put these tips into practice, which is probably the most like depressing thing. And like, I would like, no matter if you like reading or don't like reading, you're gonna have to read in life. And like, the most successful people generally read a lot and read fast, and like not necessarily successful in sports, but successful in like academics, maybe. I mean, so you're gonna have to read, just kind of the thing that you have to do. So better start now and get good at it. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video and it didn't bore you and you didn't fall asleep, because you know that's what I tend to do to people. I tend to put them to sleep. But you know, yeah, reading, it's pretty exciting stuff. But hopefully now you can now read at a NASCAR speed, so you can really vroom it out. Yeah, please feel to unsubscribe, and or if you feel like subscribing, you can do that too. But yeah, hit the like or dislike button, whatever you feel like doing with your life. And yeah, don't do drugs. See you next time.